going to continue to pull on that thread throughout this hour, but I do want to get to another viewer question. Why is it okay for other countries to charge tariffs, but not okay for the U.S. to do the same? The president's been saying the global trade right now is completely unfair. He's trying to level the playing field.
Oh, I mean, look, there is something to be said if there is an unfair playing field on certain products. And I think that we would feel a little bit more secure in the idea of we're leveling the playing field if we didn't have such a blunt on a piece of cardboard rollout of a plan. If they said, look, what we did is, and I understand this is what they did, that there were a lot of economists that went from the government and went and talked to companies and said, where's the pressure point? How can you sell through? Where are you feeling the pain? And then you come up with a more nuanced, like you take your scalpel out, you don't take this hatchet to the entire trade regime that's been working, not perfectly, but pretty well for 80 years or so.
You know, I just want to pick up on that because, look, it is okay. It is okay for the U.S. to charge tariffs. You know, it's really the difference between a protectionist versus a global mindset. I think where I've heard a lot of economists and analysts push back and say, Canada, Mexico, I mean, come on, we've got a trade agreement with them. They're so important.
And one that Trump negotiated.
Exactly, in his first term. But, you know, some of these countries that do keep out American businesses, like, yeah, let's try and level the trading platform here.
So another question that we have is how do these tariffs impact everyday consumers, especially when it comes to something we've all seen, prices at the grocery store or the hardware store? What's the long-term outlook? Are these tariffs likely to strengthen the U.S. economy or just cause temporary disruption? Maybe part of me feels like that last latter, as time will tell. But
yeah, and also it depends what the tariffs are, how long they stay in place. Where you're going to see the first price increases is with perishables, right? So just think of it this way. There's a bunch of stuff that's on the racks of stores all over the United States. A lot of that stuff has been imported. And once that stuff is sold, we're going to have to see whether these companies are going to restock their shelves. When they restock their shelves, what's going to happen? There's going to be a tariff due, and Walmart might say, okay, we're going to import that. We're going to bring that on our shelves, and now we're going to pass along that price increase to you, the consumer. The longer tail of the effect of the price increases would be with places that have a lot of inventory. So if people go out and buy a ton of cars in the next 3 months and they run out of inventory fast, then you're going to see prices go up pretty dramatically for cars. And I think that in all of these little areas, it is going to be an inventory. And I think that I'm pretty sure when you reported on this, that there was a real inventory buildup in the first quarter in anticipation of these
vehicles
tariffs.
Particularly?
Yeah, and actually, though, with vehicles, we just did a story the other day. So many people have already come in that inventory has gone down. Two things that I'll add
people
to
saying,
that.
let me get in before these
yes,
tariffs. Okay.
Exactly. Two things I want to add to that is, one, just at home, if you are expecting a price increase, do the math. It shouldn't be off of the sticker price, okay? Because the tariff is charged on the import price. So I don't want anyone going to the car dealership and saying, oh, my $60,000 car should cost 25% more. That makes sense. Just do that math and negotiate with them because they shouldn't be charging you 25% more off the sticker price because that's not what they're paying.
It's sort of fascinating when you consider what was created after COVID, right? We had such a massive supply chain disruption. It was awful. Remember the ships being stuck and we couldn't get the stuff we needed. And I think a lot of companies were trying to diversify their risk when it came to the supply chain. The supply chain actually got longer from what it used to be. It really did. It started to move in a different way.
Meaning touching more hands.
Yes. And every time it touches hands, think about it. Like, let's say we're putting together a GM car in the United States. The parts that create that car may go back and forth across the U.S., Canada, Mexico border up to 8 times. Wow. 8 different times you're going to pay a tariff. So to your point, Kelly, I think that idea that, like, wow, we're punishing our partners. And frankly, if he had come out and said, you know what, I love that deal. That was a great deal. And he and Claudia Sheinbaum had a little side conversation, like, you got to help me with the immigration problem. I think people would have been okay. Yeah. I just think starting with Canada and Mexico was really a shocking moment for most people who are watching this.